Hello.
Hi. Hello. Hello,
Hello.
everyone. So, if Julia has to randomly get up, it's because of the dog. There's a dog.
There's a dog. I've got my dog's man's best friend over here hanging out with us, and he's a bit of a baby, even though he's 3 years old and you think he can handle his life, but he can't. So if my parents come home, I'm at my parents' house right now. I'm just going to let him quietly out the door, hopefully quietly, but please forgive me for my
Yeah. It's
moment.
all good. It's all good.
Realness.
We're in this together, honey. We're in this together. So, we're going to do a question and answer, a Q&A. We're going to do a Q&A. We've never done a Q&A before.
No, we haven't, and I'm excited about it.
Yeah, so I thought I was inspired by your feedback sandwich, and I thought, wouldn't it be cool if we did like kind of like this like sandwich, but it was like a funny question followed by serious questions, ended with another silly question?
Yeah.
So I'm going to start with a silly question, okay?
Okay, let's do it.
So the silly question is, if you were to have to get up onto a stage and accept an award for your badassery, what song would be playing in the background?
Oh, that's an awesome question. Uh, okay.
The first
Okay.
thing that comes to mind. What is it?
Oh, like this is so embarrassing. But for my badassery, being a child of the '90s, and like y'all can judge me if you want to, but it's going to be a Britney Spears song. So.
Good idea. Which one?
Oh, there's so many good ones.
There is.
There's so many good ones. I don't even know. Oh,
So we'll just leave it at Britney Spears.
oh yeah, it's and I have to say, like, I mean, there are so many more. Like, if I really thought about it, I'd probably come up with a much cooler answer. But the first thing that comes to my mind is Britney Spears. She was my girl. And I'm sure
Yeah.
there's many other, late 80s babies that are like, yeah, I feel ya.
That would be me. So I would pick.
Yes, tell me.
You're gonna die with laughter, but I would pick "Sandstorm" by Darude.
Hi, Heather. Wow, I was not anticipating that one, but I'm so glad that you just said that, and that ultimately actually just made me love you 10 million times more. So, Sandstorm.
Sandstorm. So
Okay.
we started with something funny.
Yeah.
We're going to dive into something serious, and then we're going to end with something funny. And hi, Heather. Hi, Power Woman. Hello. That's us. That's all of us.
Double
All right.
woman. So we should probably play Sandstorm at the end of the video. I'm just going to throw that out there because.
I know. It's probably the most badass song to accept a badass award to. So that's why I picked it.
Remember the video though? Like, it was so ridiculous.
It really was.
It was great. Okay, serious question.
Serious questions. Okay. So, we do have a list of questions that we hear from clients often.
Mm-hmm.
But if anyone watching has a question that they would like answered, just put it in the comments.
Please put it in the comments.
Yeah.
That would be amazing. That's what we're here for.
That's what we're here for. We're here to serve you guys. So put the questions in the comments. So how about we start? Where would you like to start, my dear? Which question would you like to start with?
Oh, there's so many. I'm sorry for looking down, guys. I've just got some written down here. Okay, this is a good one. And I think it's something that, especially, when somebody's kind of a little bit on their spiritual path and kind of going forward and sort of doing has started to do some personal development work, maybe kind of, moving in this direction. And we hear a lot of, just send it positive vibes. And I mean, we hear everybody talk a lot. You just did a talk about it yesterday too. Negative thoughts don't equal negative things, right? Negative outcomes. So that whole idea of, okay, so just send it positive thoughts and love and all of these things. Yes, that's a thing. So the question is that I find I get a lot, and so I'm sending it love. Whatever we end up talking about, a particular situation, I'm sending it lots of love. I'm sending that, positivity, and I'm not thinking about, I'm having gratitude for it. But why can't I let it go? Why is it still a thing for me?
Yeah.
And you, Heather, you're the favorite. I can see you.
Oh, thanks, Heather. That's sweet.
So it is so sweet. So I think the term, and I think we've touched on it before a little bit, but the term spiritual bypassing comes to mind when I think of that answer. So what do you think of when somebody said, like, when somebody asks you that question? So I'm sending it love, I'm sending it all of these positive vibes, I'm trying to eliminate the negative vibes about it, have the gratitude, find the good parts about it, and only think about those, but I can't let it go.
Right.
Where do you go with that?
So I like that you said, that somebody asked, so why can't I let it go? And I instantly, the first thing that comes to mind when I read that question was exactly, why can't you?
Yeah.
And just because I just feel that, like, maybe the person's not being maybe honest, 100% honest, right? So if you're to just kind of, if they're like, why can't I let it go? And just go, well, exactly, why can't you? And then I think I would probably have the person like let's picture yourself staying the way that you are, right? So like, say this person really wants to change. So picture yourself staying exactly the way you are. So that could be maybe unhappy, jealous, insecure, angry, or something along those lines, right? And then ask yourself, now what? Now what? Like, I want a better life, but I'm unwilling to take positive actions toward having that life, right? It just doesn't, right? So now what? Now what are you going to do? So once you become like aware of your behavior, then you have a choice. So what is it going to be? Now what? Does that make sense?
It makes total sense. I love that. The choice comes back down to that choice. What are you going to do now? And that definition of insanity, right? Doing the same thing over and over and over again, expecting a different result.
Right.
Which we all know doesn't happen. Another interesting thing too is, really thinking about the idea of the balance of that. So thinking about it as almost like an equation, right? So like negative plus positive equals a thing, right? Like equals a charge, an emotional charge. Why can't I let it go? So when we think about letting something go, we have physical, mental, spiritual, emotional, right? So when there's still a charge around all of those things, it still continues to exist it still continues existing inside, outside, because what's inside is always outside.
Right.
And so when it still continues to be a thing, when you think about the idea of constantly sending something positive but ignoring the negative, you're ignoring half of the thing you're trying to let go of.
Right.
So when I'm like, you say, okay, so I'm eliminating the negative and only sending a positive to try to neutralize or eliminate something out of my life.
Mm-hmm.
Break it down into physics, break it down logically, that can't possibly happen if you ignore the negative. They come together. Everything is in balance. So positive charge, negative charge, creates a magnet, right? It creates a thing, a whole piece. Mm-hmm. So in order to dissolve or let go of a whole issue or thing or limiting belief, whatever it is you're trying to let go of, mm-hmm. you embrace the negative and the positive.
Yes.
And then you ask that question, well, why can't you? Mm. Because you're not actually looking at the whole thing, right? Mm. So and so you send all the love and the gratitude, but when you can do it for both sides, when you can do it for the positive part and the negative part of whatever that situation is, mm-hmm. that's when you neutralize it.
Absolutely.
It becomes, you can dissolve it. It's like physics, right? Basic physics.
I knew you were going to get all sciencey.
Oh, I just love this one. with my glasses right now, my hair like this, and it's just like a little,
You're like a scientist.
You're like a little cartoon character.
You're like a spiritual scientist.
Oh, those are the best kind. Spirits. Those videos are the best. If anybody has not, I'm sure you all have. But if you haven't watched any spirit science videos, those guys are rabbits all there.
Yeah, so cool. Yeah. All right, honey. So that's awesome. Yeah, I agree with that totally. So where are we moving on to next? Are we moving on to the what?
Oh, another silly question?
No, that's at the end.
Okay. Oh, well, it's the sandwich. I get it. Okay.
See the sandwich? Yeah. So funny question, then serious questions end with the funny question.
Okay. Serious question. Bracket S multiple.
Serious questions being most of the time serious. Okay. So I like this question, and of course we hear this often, is what am I doing wrong?
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
What am I doing wrong? So what are your thoughts on that one?
It's an interesting one, and it's one that I've had some experience with really recently, actually, speaking with a client. And I had this thought about it, an intuitive kind of thought that came to me right after, and she was asking, what am I doing wrong? Like, what did I do wrong in this particular relationship? Like, I'm searching for the reasons, looking for the reasons. And I just thought, okay, but when we're doing that, what am I doing wrong? And I'm looking at the relationship, I'm looking at the timeline of what happened, and I'm trying to find out where I went wrong. Mm. But you're externalizing things when you're doing that. You're looking outside of yourself to look at some sort of independent outside action that broke down a relationship. Right. When ultimately, that's not how things break down, right? Right. As you know, when we create our own reality, I'm a reflection of this person, they're a reflection of me, right? And so it's this kind of reciprocal thing in here. So instead of looking outside the timeline of the relationship, what am I doing wrong? Instead, why not ask the question of what am I not doing inside?
And I love that. Mm-hmm. I love that. And I'm going to pipe in here because I like to come from, what I like to do is I kind of like to rephrase it as well, which is what you're doing, rephrasing it. So I like to rephrase it as, where am I not sending love?
Yes, that's it. That's it.
Because everything's rooted in love. So if you're treating your body badly, if you're not eating well, if you're treating money and other people badly, then you're not loving in your relationship. So you're not loving your body. So you're not sending love to those areas. So instead of being so negative in a sense, like what am I doing wrong? It's like, no, there's just areas in your life that are really lacking love. And
Mhm.
where are they? How do I bring more love to those areas? And yeah, that's kind of what do you think? What's your thoughts on
Yeah,
that?
yeah, absolutely. So to build on that, so what area am I not sending love to? But in that context, not sending love, but doing where am I not taking action, right? Like where am I not doing the work in order to keep all of those things that are, so like think of it as like a rating scale. So we have like spiritual, mental, emotional, physical, career, financial, all those things that you just listed. And if you were to go through and rate yourself on where you're actually, how much you're actually taking care of yourself in all of those different things, creating that 10 out of 10 person, that 10 foundation of which you operate from in your relationships, or including the relationship with yourself. So if you were to actually go in there and scale each one of those things, you would be able to see that there's actually, I mean, maybe not everybody, but if you're in a situation where you're like asking that question, what am I doing wrong? There's obviously something missing, right? So going in and looking at where you're finding the holes, where is it dipped down? Where are you going off the charts here? Because when we're going off the charts, we're devaluing our own values and priorities somewhere.
Right.
Ultimately, when you look at that in a relationship-based context, to anything, to your work, to an intimate partner, to a friendship, anything, then you're not going to be able to actually have an effective and harmonious relationship because those things are unbalanced, right? Like you create disharmony because when you're not actually, in terms of a relationship, when you're not actually being your authentic self, by keeping all of those things at a higher in terms of that scale, you know, taking care of yourself in all of those areas and being honest and truthful about your path in each one of those areas, you're just, it's almost like you're gonna like create, it's like big bumps in the road, like going down a pavement driveway with these big rocks and chunks, like you're just gonna hit it. So there's nothing smooth happening there. You can't actually connect to a person in a way where you create harmony. It just starts to break apart. And it can be so subtle, so subtle, right? And so kind of subconscious in a way. And when you don't value yourself, it becomes so easy for that other person, situation, whatever it is, to take advantage, right?
Oh, yes. Yes, totally. And Heather says, I followed every single thing you guys talked about. I followed my love and found love. The most amazing love of a man I have been friends with since I was 12. Big chapter I found for true love, or true love. I can't read tonight. She finally found what she deserves and cannot even say thanks. Heather, that's amazing.
I just want to hug you right now.
Just big hugs all around.
Oh, awesome, Heather. That's exciting.
And we have another question.
Yay!
And I apologize if I'm pronouncing this name incorrectly.
It's Anya.
Yeah, Anya. That's what I was going to say. Oh. Awesome. Okay. So how do you know? How do you know if the reason I did that was because I have a different name, and you probably saw I made a video recently about how to pronounce people's names wrong when they have difficult names. So I was slowing down for a second there and taking a deep breath, and I was going to read what it was, and I was going to say the right name. So I took my own advice. Took out my own advice. Okay. So how do you know if you're lying to yourself?
Oh, I love you.
How do you know if you're lying to yourself?
That's a great one.
It is a great one, and
just talk for a whole lot of time. So I'm gonna let you fly on that one first.
It's all good. I just love listening to you talk, so I could listen to it all day long. Yeah. How do you know when you're lying to yourself? I mean, it's just because I've been there before, and I was just trying to put myself back into that space. So it was like, it's just when things just don't feel right, and you kind of know in your heart, in your
Mhm.
gut, right? And you're not like that. There's a disconnection there. Like you feel it there, but you're going up here, right? So that's what I was doing. And I mean, I lied to myself so, oh my gosh. The amount of time I've spent lying and convincing myself of things it's just crazy to think about. And, all I can go back to is just, there was so many times when I knew in my heart,
Mhm.
like I knew I didn't like something,
Yeah.
or I knew I didn't like to be in a certain situation, or I knew I didn't like maybe a particular, or like someone rubbed me kind of the wrong way, and I just kind of hung out with them anyways, or went along with it anyways. But in my heart, I was just like, no, this doesn't feel right. So,
Yeah.
I mean, how do you know when you're lying to yourself? I mean, when you're lying to yourself. It's not like, how do I figure it out? It's just you're not slowing down enough and listening to those feelings that you're getting in your heart and in your gut, because you get them. You get them. We just ignore them, right?
Mhm.
Does that make
Yep.
sense?
That makes 1,000% sense. And the only thing I would really add to that is that it's that knowingness, and like you said, until you slow down enough and spend time actually, through meditation, through yoga, and I know you practice yoga quite a lot, and Anya, and those moments where you're connected to your body, because your body is like the master communicator, right? Like it is the master communicator, and it will always tell you when something is wrong. So
Right.
like you said, in your heart, even if it's in the bottom, just kind of percolating a little bit, you feel it. It's like that little tick, 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 tick in the back of your head. In a yoga pose, you're uncomfortable, maybe you're in your lower back, in a knee, something's happening. Those are messages from your body
Mm-hmm.
that something doesn't feel right, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when
Right.
you're in that space and you're communicating, you're quiet enough, you're focused on your breath, you're focused on your body, ask. All you have to do is ask. And
Mm-hmm.
I think I've shared with you before, but I've had some pretty profound experiences with that. In particular, when at the end of a relationship, just 2.5 years ago or so, even more than that, almost three, figuring out when and how can I leave. And I don't know if you guys can hear that. If you can hear that, that's the train in the
The
background.
train. I was gonna say that must be the train.
Kind of loud. Sorry. But anyway, so it was, I went down to the beach and I was like totally torturing myself, ignoring what I ultimately knew. And I just took the time to go and get quiet in nature and by the ocean, which is like, you can't really, like, that's it, right? Like, that's
Mm.
where you're going to learn. And I just asked the question,
Yeah.
is this the right decision for me? Am I supposed to be here?
Yeah.
And I got that resounding no. You get that answer. You
Mm-hmm.
just have to be brave enough to ask.
Yes, and trust what comes to you.
Yeah. Yes.
Don't just like shrug it off, shrug it off to, oh, that's just me making that up, or that. No, when you ask and you listen, you become that channel. We're all channel to higher place, right? So when you stop and you're, connect enough to that, and you ask the question, what comes to you is the answer. Believe it and trust it, right?
Yeah. That's a really good point. Absolutely. That's the last step, right? Like, don't justify it or rationalize it. You know what I mean? Like, that's the number one thing. Aren't we all master rationalizers? We can do it forever. And that's how people end up staying in relationships for so long or at a job for so long, they feel stuck. They feel trapped because here's the thing, like there is, when we do that, when we feel stuck or trapped or are we lying to ourselves, there's some part of that situation that's still contributing to your highest values and your highest priorities. It's still, there's some part of it that is still allowing you to keep reaching for that ultimate goal. And so you're in this like really weird place where it's like, that is still working for me, but over here, but it's also really not, so you kind of have to start weighing those things, and that's where you ultimately you end up having to make a decision at some point, and so it's kind of just doing that. And that's where that bravery comes in. That's where that courage comes in, because more often than not, you got a lot of work one way and you've got a lot of work another way. So like getting scared of the work that you have to do after a decision becomes kind of redundant, because you just there's a thing you just gotta jump, because either you're climbing back up the waterfall to get back, or you're jumping down the waterfall and swimming. So either way, there's work. So you just kind of gotta pick the one that. Yeah,
I like that. Adam says, "Is every answer you get correct? I know some people who trust everything, but I'm not sure if they create the answer they want." So that is a really good question. And it's funny that it comes up, because I just had a conversation with a lady who's an intuitive and a channeler. She lives in Florida, and I met her through the Facebook video challenge that we're doing. And she's like a really, really high respected intuitive woman, like unbelievable. And we had this conversation because she was doing a just like a kind of like a little mini course on beginners channeling.
Cool.
And yeah, it was really, really cool. It's actually on Facebook. You guys can, I'll put the link to her name, and you can check it out. And she was talking about this, because I've been kind of like channeling like a little bit, but I was kind of like, is this real? Is this what's going on here? And she said that you can't question it. You have to trust it. And when you are actually connected, so you're in meditation, you're doing yoga, whatever, you're connected, you can use mala beads, you can use crystals, whatever you want. You don't necessarily need them, but if you have those things to ground you, then if you're in that space and you're asking the question, you have to trust what comes to you. Is being channeled from your higher self.
And that the first thing, right? It's not that like you just said, trusting it. So the first thing that comes, and it's not that, oh, but are you sure? And then you start looking for that answer that you're creating, right? Like,
that's right. And that's exactly what she was talking about. It's that, you can start, questioning it and giving yourself the answer, and, you can go down like a bad road, but you're just not connected. Right?
Yeah.
But if you're in that moment where you're connected, and, if you want to use the stuff I just mentioned to kind of ground you and be in that moment, it comes to you quickly.
Yeah.
And you're right. It's the first thing. And you have to trust it, because if you don't trust it, it's not going to come to you. Yeah. And that's what she said.
Cool. I'm totally looking up this lady. But it's funny, because the first question you asked me, what would be your song? And I'm like, Britney Spears. And it was the thing that came to me. But I'm like, and I'm trying to think of other things, and I'm like, no, see, then I know I'm lying to myself, because it would be Britney Spears. And it's that feeling right there. And to go back to that last question, it's that feeling, I knew I would be lying. But it's that first thing that comes to your head. So,
and that's why I said that. That's why I said that, because I knew the first thing that popped in your mind was going to be what the real answer is.
Yeah. Sandstorm.
Sandstorm. Darude. Okay, so.
It was a great question, Adam. Thank you.
Yeah, very good. Thanks. And like I said, I'll put her name in either I'll put it in the comments. She
Mhm.
is an amazing, amazing lady. Her name is Stephanie Levingston, and she is the bomb, really. Okay, so, you're welcome, Adam. Okay, where are we going to go next? What is the next question? What about why do I keep doing this? Why do I keep behaving this way? Why does that person keep treating me like that? I want to dive into that one because I geek out on human behavior psychology. Like, I geek out on it.
Let's hear your spirit science, lady.
Okay. So, human behavior psychology. We are all trying to meet 6 needs. If you are a human being on this planet, which I'm pretty sure we are, right? Pretty sure. Not 100%, but I'm pretty sure we are all trying to meet needs. So we can try to be meeting them in a negative way, or we could be meeting them in a positive way. So I want to run through what the needs actually are, like so this happens when, if somebody's like treating you badly and it's just like repetitive and you can't understand like, why are they doing this? And it just doesn't make any sense. They're trying to meet their needs. You can meet them in a negative way, or you can meet them in a positive way. So I'm going to go through what the needs are first. So there's the emotional needs, and we have 4 of them. So the emotional needs are our certainty. So that's our being sure of something, our comfort, our stability, that type of stuff. Then we have variety. So that's our, change and stimulus in our life. Then we have significance. So that's our feeling worthy, feeling special, that type of stuff. And then we have love and connection. So that's with other people. So those are our emotional needs that we're trying to meet. And then there's 2 spiritual needs. And these are the ones that always seem to be missing, especially when people are behaving in ways that are pretty negative. So the spiritual needs are growth, so our personal development. And then we have our contribution. So how do we contribute to something that's greater than ourselves? So those are the spiritual needs, right? So when somebody's mean to you, and what I should say first is that when somebody is actually going to, if you meet 3 or 4 of those needs, or 3 or more, I should say, you become addicted to that behavior. And I find that so fascinating because when you actually like break it down to figure out like why somebody's doing what they're doing and why are they repeating it, it's because they're meeting it's so cool. So if we're thinking about somebody that is being mean to you, let's say that, right? So let's just go back to the human behavior for a second. So like the needs. So somebody's being mean to you. So 1, they're certain that they're going to get a reaction from you, or they're going to hurt you. They're sure of that, right? They have variety. So when somebody's kind of like hurting you over a period of time, they kind of have like a variety of ways that they do that. They could either talk to you, say it to your face. They could say it on the internet. They could say there's a variety of ways that they're being mean to you. And then significance, they're feeling insignificant in their life. So that is their way to feel significant over you. Right? So there's significance. And then love and connection. So there's not really a love connection there, but there's still a connection because right. So there's a connection because they're being mean to you and you're involved, right? So there's that connection there. So there you have 4 of those needs being met. And like I said earlier, if you're meeting 3
3 or
more, you become addicted to it, right? So then what ends up happening is when people are like kind of behaving in bad ways, they get stuck in this crazy 8. And the crazy, I'm going this way. 8 is this way.
Infinity though, infinity.
But infinity. So they get caught in this crazy 8 cycle. And I know this like, cause I've been there. So what it is there's anger on one side And then down, there's depression on the other side. So it's like you get really, really angry about your life and you hate your life. You don't like how your life is. And then you get like kind of sad about it and depressed. And then you get kind of sick of being sad. And then you go back into anger. And it's like, woo, 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 like back and forth. So how people get out of the crazy eight is by distraction. So what they do is they try to, that's when drugs come into play. Drugs, alcohol, shopping, food, sex, any type of addiction. They want to be distracted, so they come out of the crazy eight that way. But the only way that you can come out of the crazy eight and be out of it is if you meet the last two needs. The spiritual needs, the growth, the contribution. So that's the only way. So then we also have like I said, you can meet your needs in a negative way, but you can also meet them in a positive way too. So I just like to give an example of myself. I gave an example before of this group, a group I run called Your Inner Unicorn, right? The unicorn tribe. The unicorn tribe. So I just wanted.
There's a lady on there that hasn't joined yet. Get yourself in that group. It's fast. Fabulous. And then you get to hang out with all the time. I'm sorry, my arm is moving a lot because I'm petting the dog, so he remains.
You're petting the dog. That's awesome. Yeah, come to the group. Anybody that wants to. It's fun over there too. So, okay. So then, meeting your needs in the positive way. So I just give myself as an example. So with my, oh, hi, he agrees with me.
Yes, he does.
He said, I want to be in the group. So I'm just gonna keep explaining it while Julia's letting the dog out. So okay, so I'm certain about my group. I'm so sure about my group. I'm sure that it's a place of positivity, a place that people are going to really have a great time. Then variety, I post a bunch of different types of things in there, post videos, and I write and interviews, and so there's a variety of stuff. Significance, I feel special because of the group. I feel worthy because of the group, because I know that I'm doing something positive in the world. And then I have that love and connection, right? We have that, like with you and everyone else, right? There's this really, like, I'm connected to them, they're connected to me. But then it's also meeting my spiritual needs too. So my growth, my personal development. So I bring a lot of that into what I'm doing. And then the contribution. I'm trying to contribute to something that's greater than myself. So there I'm meeting all the needs in a positive way. And I feel amazing. And that's what happens when you start meeting your needs, all of those needs, in the positive way.
Oh, I love it.
That's when life becomes like, ooh, big heart, you know, like it makes so much sense. So if someone is acting in a way that you don't really understand, or they're being mean to you, the best way to break it down is what needs are trying to be met here.
Yeah.
Right? Or if you're behaving in a way that's negative, right? If you don't eat well, right? What needs am I trying to meet by not eating well? And if you actually go through that list, a lot of the times you can see what needs you're actually trying to meet. And then when you're aware of that, it's just shifting into meeting those needs in a more positive way.
Mm-hmm.
Mic drop.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding. Just kidding.
He's rude. Cue the sandstorm. I because it's so good, and I'm like thinking about like my life right now, and I'm trying to like, you know, it's such a good little system to a good like balance and checkpoint, right? To check on these values and where are you at? What needs are you trying to meet right now? Because you're unbalanced there, right?
Yes.
In terms of that negative positive balance. And yeah, fascinating.
I know. And you can dive so into it, right? Like that's just kind of touching the surface. And it's just provides people with a way of just making sense of behavior, right? Like kind of making sense when somebody's not necessarily being so nice, right? Like,
Yeah.
oh, they're insignificant in their life, so they're trying to feel significant, right?
By using you in order to do that, yeah, in that negative way.
Right.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
again, I'm going to come back to the only thing I want to add to that, because that was wonderful, and my mind is a little blown right now, and I'm thinking, like analyzing. But the only thing I want to add to it is that same idea, going back to that values and priorities. So the best, way of looking at that in terms of, so if that person that is being cruel, mean, inconsiderate, any of those things towards you and continues to do it, and you continue to kind of deal with it for some reason, right? Like, first ask yourself that question: why are you staying in a stressful situation like that? But second of all, what are they, why would somebody do that? And often when we are living by someone else's values or priorities, or don't know what ours are, so we can't actually live to those, so therefore we live to somebody else's, we automatically start having anger. We automatically start blaming. We automatically start being confused and get depressed and get discouraged. And all of these things start to happen where you become resentful and hateful. And those kinds of behaviors play out that way because it's really a symptom of not knowing your own values, your own drive, your own inspiration and inner being that drives you, and like, motivation is not a thing. These, your intrinsic values, where you don't actually need to think about it. You're just like your inner unicorn. You don't have to think about that. You wake up every day excited to contribute to that, excited to create beautiful, sparkly, glitter, awesome unicornness to the Facebook land. And so that, like, nobody can really fuck with that for you. You know what I mean? Nobody, it's yours and you're living towards that. So it doesn't really matter. That kind of poison can't really come into it.
Right.
So there's that saying, and I just love it. It's kind of cool. It's, I'd rather have the whole world against me than have my own soul against me.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
I mean, what did Heather just say there? Because I have to say, Heather, you have been a pivotal piece to my ability to comprehend a lot of this in the last couple of weeks. We need to have a big conversation, because I got big love for you, girlfriend. So
yeah, I need to get in on the Heather conversation, because
yeah, you're good.
I love it. She said, yes, your own light, you being, yes, Julia. And then she said, your inner unicorn, or you a beauty corn, a beauty corn. So awesome. And Adam just asked a question there too. So he said, can you coach yourself through that process to discover what needs you're trying to meet? Yes, you can. You absolutely can. And what I'm going to do is I'll put the needs up above the video afterwards, just so you can see them and kind of run through what they are. You definitely can. And I think it's important. It's a good journaling exercise too, is to, pick a behavior that you're not overly happy with and just run through kind of the top 4 like emotional needs that you're trying to meet. And then, write it out and see how you're trying to meet them, like the certainty, variety, significance, love, connection. Like, just write it all out, and a lot will come out, and you could definitely coach yourself through that process for sure. It's just when things maybe get like a little bit overwhelming and too much, it's okay to ask for help from a coach or whoever. But yeah, you could definitely do it yourself for sure. It's powerful. It's a powerful process for sure. Yeah.
Love it.
I lost my notes. Where are my notes? There they are. Okay. What next?
For me. What's the next question?
What's the next question, my dear? Oh, okay, I know. And I want to hear your answer on this because I was like, this is a Julia question to
Oh,
answer.
okay, let me get comments. Make sure. Okay, what is
Okay.
it?
So how do I transmute or avoid inherited karma? Please tell me.
Hmm. Yeah, it's an interesting one.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think, I mean, like, okay, we could talk for hours about like, do past lives, inherited karma, all of these things, you know what I mean? But the basic crux of it all. Oh no, getting the pressure on me. Okay, well, you know what? Okay, here's my opinion on all of this. Is that yes, you can, and it ultimately comes down to wisdom. And it ultimately comes down to how you use that wisdom. So I think that it's something that I don't know if any of you, if you have not, go check out that video that I posted earlier on today. The CEO Vishnu, is that how you say his name? The guy from
Yes, I love him.
Yeah, he's great. And he posted a kind of clip from one of his interviews that he did with somebody, and it was all about children and their beliefs and how their minds actually think and how they're kind of creating meaning creating machines. I think you called it your mind, and which I just loved. So I think that is a big way that you can squash that inherited karma idea, right? So our parents, we learn everything from them. We learn meaning from them, especially at those very young ages. So going through and actually doing the personal development work to, like, first step one, acknowledge what's actually happening, acknowledge what that idea of karma is, right? And what yours in particular is, and those would be those things that are repeating for you, those patterns over and over again. Those are the things that you need to learn, right?
Mm-hmm.
And those are the lessons that you need to feel. So how do you kind of transmute that or kind of stop that in its tracks, so it doesn't have to go forward into, well, maybe your next lifetime or maybe just the next year of your life. Mm-hmm. And ultimately it comes down to learning the lesson. Learn it, understand it, pick it apart, pull it apart, understand it backwards and forwards, and use that wisdom that you have learned and apply it over and over and over again till it eliminates and dissolves from your experience. And by doing that, whoever you have inherited it from, or whatever, however your belief systems work through that, we understand through quantum science, like the entanglement theory, right? So like non-locally affecting that experience. So it's, again, that whole idea of neutralizing something that has happened in the past that has had that emotional charge. And when you can actually completely neutralize it and balance it with that negative and that positive, there's something that happens where your heart opens, you find gratitude, you find love for that experience, that big, huge, big heart love, like you just did. I wish love.
I know, it actually looked like one.
It did. You did good. You can find your heart opens to that big love and that gratitude for that person, situation, place, being, or thing that has continued to have that emotional charge for you or create that karma in your life. And they almost like appear to you, and they'll feel it. They will feel it. Maybe it is in the past. Maybe it is in the future now. It's all happening all at once. But you can neutralize it for both of you. For all of the energy that's involved in that storyline or that karma or that timeline. So I think that it's for my, just to share a personal example, in terms of my own personal health, there's something. So there was a genetic thing that my grandmother, my mom had, my mom's mom, And so it passed down, and now here I am dealing with it, but I have the wisdom and the opportunity to neutralize that in my life right now. So it will, going forward, it will no longer affect me.
Right.
But it's because you do the work to pull it apart and figure it out and totally transmute it. Nice. So it ultimately comes down to wisdom and love.
Yeah. I love that.
How's that for an answer, Rick?
Yeah, Ricky.
So,
No, that was great. Yeah, I was curious to hear that because I knew you would be able to like do the little mic drop on that too. So.
Thank you, Britney Spears. What's that Britney song that I play?
I know. Think about it. It's an interesting question. So maybe we'll do one more question and then we'll pull like an angel card and then how's that sound?
Funny question?
What?
When's the last funny question?
I don't know. Oh, I do know what it is. But do we end right now with the funny question, or do we? One
more question and then the funny question.
One more serious one? Okay. So what if I go back to how I used to be? What if I can't get away from my old life? So, first of all, there's no shame in anything in your life. There's only opportunity to learn and grow. And I am like so passionate about the value within the struggle, right? Like the power that comes with the struggle. I like to think of it as you transform from powerless to powerful, but F-U-L-L.
Yeah.
Right? It's like I know, right? I just thought of that tonight. I'm gonna tap myself on the back.
Feelings right there. See, there you go. That's Adam. Take note right there.
So, using your struggles to become powerful, but in a really, really positive way, and I think of my personal story, with struggle. I lost a child. I spent a few years struggling with drugs and alcohol. I battled an eating disorder, an abusive relationship, suicidal thoughts, anxiety, depression, all of those things. And it wasn't for nothing. It provided me with the tools I needed to be able to help people transform their lives. Simple.
Yes, it did.
Right?
Yeah.
That's what it did. Yeah. We're here to serve. We're here to serve people. So that's how I can serve people, is through my struggle, right? So I don't believe in this, like, how do I get away from my old life? It's not something that you need to get away from. It's something that, again, like you said, right, you have the positive and negative. You have to they both go together, right? They both go together. And it's the same thing with this story, that you don't try to get away from it. Try to appreciate. It's like you turn into like a butterfly, but you're the butterfly that appreciates the caterpillar self.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And it doesn't mean that you turn into the butterfly and then you carry your cocoon that you busted out of with you for the rest of your life. You can leave it in there and on a leaf and let it sink back into the earth and become more food for the other bugs and plants and all of the things that need to grow in the forest floor. Yeah. Because it becomes part of the story. It becomes part of your evolution. You don't need to carry it with you. And that's where coaching is really helpful, because you can have somebody help mirror and reflect for you the parts that you want to take forward from your past, from your old life, from your old habits, and learn how to use them to your benefit. So you leave the hurt and the sadness and the powerlessness back there, and you move forward with full power and powerful feelings, and just bring to the world we chose this, right? We chose this.
Yeah.
And
I believe that.
Right? We chose those struggles in order to be ultimately where we're at this very single moment. So when you hear people talk about that, you are perfect in this moment right now, and you are exactly where you're supposed to be.
Exactly.
Just get down with the sickness, yo.
Get down with it, yo. My
So,
body just gets so like vibrating when I think about this topic because I'm so super passionate about it.
yeah.
Like the struggle, and I just know that my job is to help people break free of that prisoner. Like, so they're not prisoner of their circumstances, right? Like,
Yeah.
to break free from that, right?
Yeah.
How could you use that? Oh man, I just get so like worked up about it.
I just love it.
I do, I really do. But yeah, so much value. So don't look at it as how do you get away from it. Embrace it.
Mm-hmm.
There's no
Own it.
shame. Yeah, there's no shame in it. Okay, so should we do, shall we do the funny question?
Yeah, next question.
Well, it's not really a funny question. And it's something that I actually asked in the group. Unless you have a funny question. Do you have a funny question?
No, I didn't come prepared with the funny questions.
I know.
Serious ones.
You had the serious ones. Okay, so I asked this question in my group, and I wanted to ask you this question.
Oh,
And anyone else, feel free to put it in the comments. And if anyone wants to put in the comments what song that they would,
please do. Oh,
yeah. So if anyone missed the first part of the conversation, I had asked what if you were to get up on a stage and accept an award for your badassery, which song would be playing in the background? So I'd be curious to know your song choice, and you can put it in the comments below. I picked Sandstorm by Darude. So anyone from 1999 will greatly appreciate how badass that song is. So,
and I agree.
Right?
Piece of Me is a great Britney song, and it would definitely be on the list. Absolutely.
Okay, wait. Adam has a question here. So before we get into the silly question, okay, if you break out of the struggle, if your break out of the struggle adds more struggle to someone else, should you take that into concern or leave them in the past? Ooh, that is a good question. If you break out of the struggle and adds more struggle to someone else, should you take that into concern?
Mm-hmm. I have an answer. Can I go?
Yeah, please. Yes.
Well, Anya, hell yeah, Katy Perry, Firework is a great song. It gives me chills every single time I hear it. But my answer to you, Adam, is, and to anybody else who thought about that, because absolutely, it's incredibly valid and makes complete sense. And I'm so glad that you joined the group because these are fabulous questions and they really are thought-provoking. So thank you for contributing.
Yeah, they are awesome.
If it adds more struggle, here's the thing. So I'm going to go back down to that values and priorities thing. So if you're not living by those and you're ultimately sacrificing all of the time, I think there's a difference between being like really sort of selfish and doing things despite what, even if it means you're going to squash somebody or step on somebody's feelings or whatever it is, or be really mean. I think that there's a difference between being selfish like that and selfish in the self-care in a way where you can't expect it to be good for anybody if you're doing something that is constantly compromising your values or your highest priorities. It's just not going to work. So it means that you make a choice or a decision that might cause somebody else a little bit of struggle or a little bit of discomfort for a period of time. That's okay. And ultimately, they will either leave your life or they will learn from your brave decision to live by your highest values and highest priorities, and not emulate is the wrong word, but take something from that and hopefully choose to do that for themselves. So I really think that, when we make a decision that's based on our heart, that comes from love for ourselves, and love for, and ultimately guiding towards our highest values and priorities, you can't really go wrong.
You can't.
When you move forward in that in your life, whatever ends up happening, is what is supposed to have happened.
Exactly. That is
Trust.
such a good answer.
Mm-hmm.
Such a good answer. And I just pulled a card, which is, oops.
Wait. There we go. There we go. You can't make this stuff up, I tell you people. But really though. Ask wisdom. Always.
Yeah, you know what? You're absolutely right when you say that. You can't go wrong when you are coming from your highest values and doing what feels right in your heart. It's just there's no wrong answer. Mm-hmm. There really isn't. That's beautiful. That's a beautiful question. And I love that. Thank you, Adam. Again, like Julia said, thanks for asking that, because it's something to really think about. And yeah, I love it. I'm going to think about that even more. I'm going to think about that even more deeply. I love it.
What's your last question? I want to know now. And then I have something for you.
You have something for me?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I want to know, what are you unapologetic for? And if you watch Keeping Up with the Kardashians, you have to say so.
Oh my God. Okay, well, I definitely do not watch Keeping Up with the Kardashians. I cannot tell a lot. I get very, I just can't do it. What am I unapologetic for? I am unapologetic for my silliness and my lightheartedness and my playfulness and my ability and persistence to always see the lighter side of a situation and the positive side of a situation, and I am unapologetic for my approach to all things in life, which is, and I'm maybe increasing this more and more as I go in life, is it's all about love. I am not ever going to apologize for choosing to see the light.
Julia, that was such a nice answer. Aw, you turned it into like a deep answer. Sorry. No, it's okay. I love it.
What I do, I just turn it all into a deep thing.
I thought you were just going to say you're unapologetic for like listening to Justin Bieber music. But
that too, also. That too, yeah. JB plus JB, he's my secret boyfriend. Shh, don't tell Ricky.
I know, I am obsessed with, I like the new music. But yeah, what are you unapologetic for, guys? So why don't you put it in the comments below? I'm unapologetic for so many things. I'm unapologetic for putting myself first.
Yeah.
Always. I always do. That might appear to be selfish to some people, but it isn't. And I'm unapologetic for it because it's what I need to do to function, for all areas of my life to function really well. So I'm unapologetic for that, for sure. Cool. And can I just read really quickly what it says in the book about the card? So again, it's the listen to your intuition card, which we spoke about that, didn't we?
We did many times in this conversation.
So it says, your intuition is completely reliable and accurate at this time. Listen to your own inner guidance and you can't go wrong. You can be certain that the messages you're receiving from your angels are real and trustworthy. Have faith in your feelings about the circumstances you're experiencing. Your insights into other people and their true feelings or motives are perfectly accurate. There is no need to question what you know is true.
Love it. Okay, wait. I got a little present for you, and then we gotta go because we're holding people up here. But let's see.
Do you have something for me?
Can you hear it? I love it. Awesome. Okay, good. Okay. Thank you so much for being awesome and contributing and dealing with it.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Okay, thanks, guys.
Thanks everybody for watching again. If you're watching the video replay, put your questions, comments in the comments below. That has to happen every time.
We can definitely do that. I'm so down. Intro and outro music. Sandstorm.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll be back next time.
Well, have a great night, guys.
Mwah. Bye.